Hello there, good evening and welcome to another video from me, Talon French. How have I been doing? I've been doing okay actually. It's just, yeah, sorry about this. It's just another I'm just doing like another history video for the bus service here in Inverness, but this time I'm doing it here in Culduthel Farm, just like the history of the bus service for Culduthel Farm round here. So yeah, so I'm just gonna get to it just now. So to get people to understand what Culduthel has like the amount of grief that they've been through, I think probably the best idea is just to make it heard. So yeah, so anyways, let's get to the video. So yeah, I think yeah, Culduthel didn't really get like a service from Highland Country buses really at all, to be honest, because it wasn't built until like about 2004 or 2005, so it's quite a new estate. It's only existed for about 22 years now. So yeah, so I'm just about to do the history. So the first ever service coming from town, I think it was between January 2005 to around January 2008, when Stagecoach used to do the runs. The service, there was a service actually called the number 55, so it was the number 55 was the first service serving Culduthel. So it was the number 55 back then actually, and then yes, that ran for about 3 years. It used to run directly to Culduthel Farm via Fairways, so that was the first ever service. And then in January 2008, there was quite a huge change actually. The number 55 got withdrawn actually, so it was increased from hourly to every half an hour by the number 5, which used to serve here. So this was from January 2008 to January 2011. So it was January 2008, the number 5 used to serve for another 3 years. That was up to every 30 minutes at this point, so because demand was increasing at this point, so it was like every 30 minutes, so it's like the number 5. And then after that for the number for the number 5, so it used to do like a service from town, and then it went through Culduthel Road up through Hilton, and then it used to do Morvich Way, Fairways Business Park, and then up to Culduthel that way now, because the number 5s were operating via New Hilton instead of the way through where the old staircase is near Cauldeen Primary School. So yeah, so it ran successfully for about 3 years, from January 2008 to January 2011, and then after that there's quite a significant change actually. The frequency was boosted quite significantly actually, because the number 5 might have been reduced to hourly, but another number 5C took over, like, because it used to do the services to extensions to Home Park. I remember back around 2011, so this was January 11, so that was yeah, it was pretty good actually. So it was the 5C, and then the 6A and 6C also done services up to Culduthel as well. So I think it did used to go the direct route through the B861 through the Inverness Royal Academy to Holmdel, and then it would go to Fairways Business Park via Culduthel Farm, I remember. So the frequency was, because demand was significantly increasing at this point, so it was like every 15 minutes for this area. So that was from January 2011 to probably January 2013, I think. So, and then the 5 and 5C remained basically So the daytime frequency was hourly, so Culduthel didn't really have an evening service at first, and then I think it didn't, even in the 2008 changes, I don't remember it having an evening service at all, but I think in 2011, I think they would have, in 2011, so changes, so it was running every hour, I think from the 5 or 5C or whatever it was, so it's the 5C, so yeah, and then from January 2013, let's get onto it. So the 5 and 5C did used to serve. Yeah, it was still serving here at this point, and then the number 6A and 6C got withdrawn, and then the number 6 terminated at Home Park, so as a result, the number 7 had to step in, and then the frequency decreased down to every 20 minutes. So demand was dropping after just a year, which was a bit of a shame, but it was still high enough for a 20-minute one, so yeah. And then basically from the next up, so basically from so January 2013, so it's the 5, 5C and 7, and then the number 7 did, I think the number 7 did still serve for a year after that until like 2016, I think. But I think from May 2015, the 5C were withdrawn to be renumbered as the 1 and 1C after, and then they did used to have a direct service with Cauldeen and Bloch, but that's been withdrawn after about 4 years. So it was quite a bit of a shame. So the people had to change it town, I think, and they still do now. So since then it has never really come back, to be honest. So the 1 and 1C, so the frequency was still every 20 minutes. And then in 2016, the number 7 got withdrawn from this area, so to focus on Lochardle and just doing Drummond and Lochardle every 45 minutes. It was a dreadful service back then, so the 1 and 1C, so the frequency was reduced down to every 30 minutes for quite a number of years. Actually, so the 1 and 1C used to do it, and then in January 2017, the service still remained the same, basically, so it remained pretty much the same for about 3 years, from 2016 up until January 2019. Then the 1 got increased, so the service 1C was withdrawn, and then they increased the number 1, and extended it to Holmdale, I think, out of Culduthel Farm to Holmdale, so it was running every 30 minutes. It was just the number 1 doing it, and then it would normally change into a number 6 going into town via Nestcastle and Home Park. So it was quite a massive change. So it was January 2019 this was, and then also the number 9 used to, which started also that year, did serve Culduthel. It was quite a good service. It was about 8 buses per day. Used to do it between Kinmiley's and Inverness Shopping Park via the south of Inverness. So we used to do Kinmiley's, Charleston, through the West Link to Home Park, and then onto here at Culduthel, Asda. Then it went straight to basically serving the UHI and Inverness Shopping Park, so it was quite a good service. They did have a direct service with the UHI, so it made it easier for people to get to college. So from January 2019, so basically the number 1 still remained. So and then I remember, so the 1 and 1C, even though the 7A and 7C were replacing the 6 and 7 at that time, the 1 still remained. The number 1 still remained here, and then the number 1 was replaced by the 1A, I think it was in February 2020, and the frequency was increased just before lockdown back to every 20 minutes, so it done it for about a year. Done it for around a year, basically. done it for around a year. So, and I even used to do evening services, funnily enough, still every hour as normal, and then shortly after, in June 2021, a shocking change came into force. So the number 1 was withdrawn, and then it was replaced in June 2021 by the very unreliable 4A and 4C. It was just like that in South Keswick, where I documented in another video. It was like that in Culduthel as well, and Home Park. So 4A and 4C were replaced by, have been replaced. So it was between June 2021 and January 2023 coming in for the 1A, and it was decreased back down to 2 buses per hour, but it wasn't every 30 minutes because it was hourly going in each direction, which is a pure pain in the backside. And then it happened until January 2023, and then January 2023, and then from that point in January 2023 when the 4A and 4C got abolished, the 487 took over. So they used to do it every hour in each direction still, but they also had an additional bus, so basically like every 30 minutes as far as here. So it went back to being a 30-minute service for a while. Then it had like every 2 hours in each direction service in the evening, so they had an hourly service, which was pretty good. And then that was all about to change in January 2025 when they axed the route for Nestcastle. The 4 and 7's evening service got withdrawn after 7:45, which is a bit of a shame. So it was at 19:45, the last one at this point, which is a bit of a shame. And then the 18:45 was the last time for the 7, and the 4 was at 7:45, so the service ceased basically after 9 p.m. due to low usage, which is a shame, which is such a shame, to be honest. I don't know why they did that. It was still a 30-minute service, and then the biggest change, you won't believe it, the biggest change that came was in July 2025. That was when the number 4 and 7 got withdrawn, and then the 5B replaced it. But it was only running every hour, so it was reduced from half hourly to hourly, which was a pure pain in the backside. And then after about 21 years of, 22 decades of the year, just over 2 decades serving this area, Stagecoach have decided to pull all of its services from the Culduthel area to make way for the Highland Council. So it was the Service 107 that took over, so it was the 107 that is the present service here now. So it was February 2026 this happened, so it was quite it was a bit of a turning point really, and the service has been quite abysmal ever since, really, to be brutally honest. So what are my views on it? Well, I think Culduthel did have it all, I think, at the start, but now, since Stagecoach have axed the service, it's now a very intermittent hourly service now, which is a shame. And it is hourly during the school holidays, like it is currently running just now, but apart from that, it's quite abysmal during the school term. So yeah, I mean, it is a shame that Stagecoach had to do that, but that's life for you, that's Inverness for you. Nothing's getting better, so I think, and I remember in July 2025, the Stagecoach had the last service at 6:15, so it was just before 6. So no one after 6, finishing work at around 6 o'clock, 6:05 could get the bus, but thankfully the Highland Council recognised that and put an 18:10 service on, which is good. It is a slight improvement, but apart from that, it's a shame because they used to have an evening service all the time. Basically from around January 2011 up until about July 2025. July 2025. It is a shame why Culduthel got its service cut. It is a shame, but what can you do? Stagecoach are a joke. I mean, the Highland Council's not too bad, but I think the 1810 bus is good. But I think if they were to, I think if the last one were about 10:40 p.m, like from Stagecoach, like they could extend the last two remaining number 5s up here, then this area will definitely be all set, because it is quite a big area actually. So it might not necessarily be for a 15 or 20 minute service, but I think maybe a 30-minute service would help, and an hourly service in the evening like it was before would help. It's just ridiculous what Stagecoach have done to this area, forcing the Highland Council to come up with their own services. Honestly, Stagecoach are honestly one of the worst operators ever. They only served this area for 21 years. 22 years. It's just stupid. I don't understand that. They act services after 26 years, and Culduthel only got served for 21 of those 26 years of Inverness being a city. I mean, should Inverness really be a city? I don't think so. I don't think they should, to be brutally honest. I think, I think Stagecoach should just lose their franchise, I think, and just let the Highland Council and D&E take over all of it, and Edinburgh as well, because we do so much better with those operators. We could do so much more than what Stagecoach are doing now. Honestly, I'm so glad the council took over, because if it was left to Stagecoach, it would probably be reduced down to every 2 hours, and then you would not have a service at all, I would imagine. Stupid, absolutely stupid. And also I've even done like an analysis bus video, like from West Drenches when it was snowing in February 2026. So if you want to check that out on my YouTube channel, then you can if you prefer to. So yeah, there's also another video as well, so on this too. So if you want to give it a watch, you're entitled to do so. So anyways, my video is just about to come. Video is just about to come to an end now. So sorry for the phone call. So for me, it's goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm just going to sign off from Culduthel now on a nice sunny evening. So for me, it's goodbye for now. Take care and have a good rest of your evening. So for me, goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.